Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, February 14, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what that's been like in your year recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific year. Alright, so as usual, we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest year on the GFS Supercomputer model run that came out today. So keep your eyes focused right here on the timestamp as we go to the next 168 hours. That's the next 7 days. And also keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, yellows, and the greens represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's in store. Heading into Saturday morning, we can clearly see that northeastern and eastern Jamaica definitely going to be getting in some amount of rainfall, then affecting sections of some central and western parishes during Saturday afternoon. Very interesting. On Sunday, we see that morning rainfall across southern and eastern parishes, and then by afternoon, it's more so across sections of central and western parishes. Let's see what's going to be taking place on Monday. Not seeing much for the morning, but clearly the afternoons bring us some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. We'll see how it actually unfolds. Tuesday, we see some afternoon rainfall again across mainly central and western Jamaica. Wednesday, what do we see? We see some moisture right here to the south of Hispaniola. Some dots of greens across eastern and western Jamaica on Wednesday afternoon. Let's see what's going to be taking place. On Thursday, we see the moisture extending from the Windward and Leeward Islands, extending to the south of Hispaniola into portions of southern and eastern Jamaica for Thursday morning. And then Thursday afternoon, definitely some rainfall across sections of some western parishes. And then we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Friday, February 21, 2025. Not seeing much across Jamaica at that time, but looky here, we see a line of showers associated with what could be a frontal system. It could be a cold front. Who knows? Maybe it might just dip as far south and east to bring us some of that cool air behind it. Will that actually happen? We'll find out with our later forecast, and we just have to stay updated to see if this model actually remains consistent in the forecast. That's what we look for, consistency, and we also look for agreement with the other model as well. That's the GFS. So let us see if by the end of the 168 hours we also see a frontal system right there in the northwestern Caribbean, looking like it might be coming our way. But first, looking into Saturday, we see that rainfall that the Euro was showing for northeastern parishes. Very interesting. And then maybe some activity on Saturday afternoon, maybe just some isolated showers, nothing too significant. But heading into Sunday, definitely some rainfall across section of the island, especially during the afternoon across section of some eastern, northern, and western parishes. Heading into Monday, what do we see? Not seeing much for the morning, but we definitely see some rainfall across sections of some southwestern parishes during Monday afternoon. Tuesday, definitely some isolated showers across sections of central and western Jamaica during Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday, not seeing much for the morning, but definitely some isolated showers across sections of the island on the afternoon hours. Thursday, not seeing much of anything. Friday, we're going to be stopping it right here on Friday. That's 18th on Friday, February 21, which is actually 1 p.m. And we can see some showers right here between Cuba and Jamaica, some of it in trailing into portion of northeastern Jamaica. We'll see how it actually unfolds, but we're looking at the 168 hour mark. And yes, we do see the line of showers associated with what could be that frontal system. So it could be possible that it's somewhere in here. a bit more south and east than what the Euro was showing. Euro was showing it more so across central Cuba, the Bahamas, as well as the northwestern and western Caribbean. The GFS a bit more south and east, closer to us. We're not seeing that, well, that vigorous moisture that we saw. We see the line of shores on the Euro extending into the northwestern Caribbean, but on the GFS, yes, we see the line of shores, but it's definitely broken up. We'll see it actually unfolds, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted if it actually verifies by the end of the next 7 days. That's next week, Friday, into the weekend. We will be in for a cold front to bring us some cooler than average temperatures. Only time will tell. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps. Not seeing much change at all. The most rainfall over the next 7 days, that's represented by the dark reds, that's representing 2 inches of rainfall, as we can see here by the key on the right, and the purples into the pinks, that's 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. Still gonna be plaguing Northern and South America, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize. Clearly, we see those are the areas that are going to be picking up the most rainfall. Section of Jamaica as well, section of eastern Cuba, section of eastern Hispaniola, section of Puerto Rico, we're from Dominica southward, section of Guadeloupe as well, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Grenada, section of Barbados, and we clearly see that both the Euro here and the GFS model right here are showing something similar regarding these rainfall forecasts. Look at them. Almost identical for sure in terms of what could possibly take place over the next 7 days. And those areas that are shaded in the dark reds, purples and pinks could definitely get on some isolated flash flooding, if not some landslides for sure. If we take a closer look at Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation forecast, we can see that the Euro is still more robust, showing the most rainfall, extending from the east to the west across the island with those greens into the yellows. It represents anywhere from 15 all the way up into the 40 millimeters of rainfall range. The GFS, definitely a bit more reserved, showing more blues than anything else, extending from the east to the west. And we see that the most rainfall, according to the GFS, is going to be plaguing portions of eastern Jamaica, where we see up to at least 20 millimeters of rainfall in the forecast. We'll see how it actually unfolds, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see ridges of high pressure to the north that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see blue spike line right here across the waters of northern portion of North Atlantic, extending into the Bahamas and southern Florida, associated with a cold front. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out the line of clouds right here associated with that cold front right there, definitely pushing off towards the east as we speak. And we can also make out the low to mid level flow of the clouds pushing from east to west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north that's sending all of those entities to that direction. And we know these clouds definitely have some amount of moisture within them for sure, extending from the eastern Caribbean across the central Caribbean and even crashing into portions of Central America. And we can even see the upper level cirrus clouds being streaked off from northern South America across the main development region into Africa as we speak. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Friday, February 14, 2025. It was stated that rain was in the forecast for parts of northern Jamaica on Friday morning, also affecting sections of some central and western parishes during Friday afternoon. And we know northern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While central parishes, I know we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. Western parishes, I know we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. And although no post was made for the morning, we definitely got some cloud cover across sections of some eastern parishes this morning. Not sure if we got in on some isolated shower activity, but definitely was cloudy in my portion of St. Thomas this morning. But during the afternoon at around 4:41 p.m., the visible satellite images were not only posted here on our Twitter page at weatherjamaica, but they were posted on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at weatherjamaica, and on our Facebook page at weatherjamaica876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can definitely see the visible satellite images that were posted this afternoon, and they definitely highlighted clouds bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, across sections of St. Catherine, Clonard, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and Hanover. Definitely central and western parishes for sure, but more so south central and southwestern parishes got in on the brunt of the cloud cover. Not seeing much of the cloud cover or the rainfall across St. James, Trelawney, St. Mary, Portland, Kingston, St. Andrew, or St. Thomas at all. And if we take a look back at the visible satellite images before we lost the sunlight, definitely seeing it more in a HD kind of quality. And we can see the clouds right here pushing out towards the south and west across sections of St. Elizabeth. They definitely got on some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers before all was said and done with the day. Even got in on some late clouds coming into portions of Portland as well, maybe with some isolated showers within them. And we don't have anything to show on the infrared close-up satellite images. Don't show any cumulonimbus clouds or anything like that streaking off towards the east-northeast at all. But if we take a look at what's happening right here at around 2:45 p.m. on the Crossroads cam, we can see that it was definitely sunny, definitely fair. People walking on the roads going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather took place at all. And I am sure the people, well, I'm sure they want some of the rain to cool down the temperatures for sure. We'll see how Saturday plays out. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. If we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint a picture of where we had the rainfall today. Definitely across section of some northern and eastern parishes during the early morning hours, just as predicted, and then section of some southern, south central and southwestern parishes during the afternoon. And we definitely saw these clouds on the images that were posted at last. And if we take a look at the one comment that came in here on our Instagram page from Giovanni Panton, stating that Spanish Town was definitely sunny. Really appreciate that comment from you. Alright, so let us see what's happening right now as of the latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. And we see the latest still images as of 0005 UTC, which is actually 7:05 p.m. So this just came out, about 9 minutes ago, considering it's 7:14 p.m. right now. And all we're seeing right now is some patches of clouds right here to the south of Westmoreland, to the southwest of St. Elizabeth. And unfortunately, we don't have the latest Cuban Doppler radar images to show because they're still glitched out at around February 3 into February 4. Hopefully they get it fixed shortly so that we can see it up to date, showing February 14, February 15 soon. Even the Jamaican Doppler radar really need that fixed soon. But if we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar imagery, this is actually confirming that rainfall that we saw coming into portions of Portland before we started to lose the sunlight. We see the greens right here that represent some light moderate rainfall. Not seeing much happening across eastern Cuba, the western peninsula of Haiti though. And if we take a look right here at the Cayman radar, not seeing much across southern Cuba, western Jamaica, or the Cayman Islands, but we can see a string of moisture pushing to the west from Grand Cayman right here as we speak. And if we take a look at what's happening right now, according to See Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing the flat bridge in St. Catherine as of 7:15 p.m., we can see that it's definitely fair, dry conditions for sure. People in their vehicles definitely going about their business, as we can see right here. Very busy flat bridge, but clearly the Rio Cobra is chilling as we speak. As usual, that's usually the case. Alright, if we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Saturday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And if we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18:00 on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday. And we can see Jamaica for the most part embedded in grays. We know the grays represent what we see here on the key on the right. That's 0 on the scale. That represents average or normal temperatures for the month of February. And we know the normal temperature for the month of February across Jamaica is around 86.4 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 30.1 degrees Celsius. So expect 30.1 degrees Celsius for Jamaica's temperature on a Saturday. And unfortunately, we have at least one maintenance outage advisor here to highlight from my JPS Online's Twitter page. And we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages, it can definitely make the heat even worse because we don't have our fan or AC to cool us down. So if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way. We're referring to Calabash Bay or Frenchman Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you, you know the drill. We have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others including children, elderly people with medical conditions and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of drinking lots of water throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty, as well as putting away those sugary drinks and drinking water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can see an abundance of dry air extending all the way across the entire Atlantic basin. And we know the dry air is responsible for putting a cap on the entire Atlantic, basically making the atmosphere stable so that it's hard for it to rain. But we see some yellows here and there. The yellow represents the low end of the scale in terms of the dry air, some of it moist air for sure. And we see some of this across section of the Caribbean, which explains why we have so much moisture coming through. When we take a look back at the visible here, we can actually see the moisture even better. The moisture is within all of these clouds that's pushing from east to west. Right here to the south of Hispaniola, some of which passing through the Leeward and Windward Islands as we speak, and more of this shall come. But if we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m., let's find 2 p.m. on Saturday. I don't know why it's showing Friday. Let's find Saturday if it will show me that. Let's see. Alright, here we go. We found Saturday and not much change. All the Saharan dust is at bay out or here across the main development region, and we're not seeing the very dark shades of browns that we know represent the vigorous plume of dust that can cause very hazy skies. We're seeing the low end of the scale, these light shades of browns here across portions of the main development region. I don't see much of anything across North America, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, South America, or Central America, and we're indeed grateful for that. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we'll still see that the lowest waves, as represented by the light blues to dark blues, are still across the Bahamas, the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, or Northwestern Caribbean. That represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave height. But look at all of the purples, pinks, and burgundies across majority of the Caribbean, the Eastern Caribbean, even the Southern Bahamas getting in on the mix. We know all of that represents anywhere from 2 to 3, maybe even close to 4 meter wave heights, and that's because of the winds that are expected. Clearly, we see the winds right here coming in from the east-northeast across the Eastern Caribbean, curving more westward, mainly an easterly flow, and curving northward into the Gulf of America. We see the bright greens into the yellows right here. That one represents anywhere from 20 to 25 knots, maybe even gusting to 30 knots in some spots. And if we go back to the wave forecast, Jamaica's north coast is going to be getting up to at least 2.4 meter wave heights, 2 meter wave heights on the south coast, maybe 2.5 on the southeast coast. And that's because of the winds that are expected. Look at this, up to 22 knots on the north coast tomorrow. And this is about 1 p.m. on Saturday. 17 knots. It's going to be a windy day once again. And we also see that we're going to be having the lowest winds across inland areas of some central and western parishes. So who knows, maybe we might have some of that air piling up, bring us some amount of isolated shower activity. We'll see how it goes. And we also see that northeasterly flow, so who knows, maybe some morning rainfall coming into portion of Portland, St. Mary. And with the upper level winds coming in from the west-northwest, it could favor some of the activity, especially across sections of southern Jamaica during the afternoon. And if we take a look here at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, both maps here from the Euro and the JFS are showing 5 a.m. on Saturday, and we can clearly see the blues that represent rainfall across section of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, as usual, some of which could be spilling into section of St. Thomas, so look out for that early morning rainfall. Then by 4 p.m. we have some contrast. The Euro clearly showing blues that represent rainfall across eastern, central, and western Jamaica. But the GFS, not that impressed with that. Showing some slight shades of blues, represent some isolated shores across sections of Western Hanover, section of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth into Manchester. Not really a strong signal, and we see more whites than anything else. And we also see most of the rainfall displaced to our south. That's where the GFS has the rainfall. We'll see it actually plays out on Saturday afternoon. Whatever happens, I'll definitely keep you posted. Clearly, both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with the accumulated precipitation forecast, though. Both the maps here showing all the way up to 10 p.m. on Saturday. And we can clearly see that the most rain here, according to the Euro, is going to be about 0.32 of an inch of rainfall expected for Portland. The GFS showing the same place, but it's only up to at least 0.26 of an inch of rainfall. Either way, whatever happens, we'll take it. We're in the month of February. We're in our dry season. And whatever rainfall that we get will definitely, be grateful, because we don't usually get rainfall this time of year. In Kingston, this bar graph is being shown right here at the top. We usually receive up to 19 millimeters of rainfall for the month. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 2.9 inches of rainfall for the month. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of February or for the entire year in terms of rainfall, you can visit www.weather-and-climate.com, and that website to show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters, because we know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. So you do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have that cold front right here, which clouds definitely pushing eastward, but definitely still brings some amount of overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, section of the southern US and Florida. We also see the low level clouds to mid level clouds pushing from east to west, some of which have some moisture within them across the Caribbean. And if we take a closer look at the northeastern Caribbean, you can definitely make out the greens represent some light to moderate rainfall affecting section of Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, sections of Puerto Rico. The US and British Virgin Islands might have gotten on some of the action too. And if we load these images from earlier today, we can see where we definitely had some amount of showers pushing in from the east, northeast across sections of Guadeloupe and Dominica. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, look at the abundance of moisture passing through from east, northeast, west, southwest in and around Barbados. They're definitely getting on some rainfall as we speak, light to moderate rainfall at that. So too section of Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago also getting on some of the action. And we can see Trinidad and Tobago right here, even better on their radar, some of that rainfall definitely spilling into portions of Venezuela. We also see some rainfall coming into portions of the ABC Islands too, not to mention sections of Colombia, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula and northern Guatemala. And if we take a look at where the rainfall is expected in the next 24 hours, not much change. The most rainfall, as we can see here in the oranges and reds, representing up to an inch of rainfall, should be plaguing portions of southern and eastern Venezuela, Guyana, sections of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, section of eastern Honduras, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, northern Guatemala, and more isolated shores are definitely in store for portions of the ABC Islands, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, section of St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, eastern Puerto Rico, the British Virgin Islands, section of the Dominican Republic getting on some of the action. And clearly we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.